Hi, my name's Simon, and welcome to another episode of the Maserati Guy. Few people have asked about the repairs to the CL500 and how much they cost. I know there's a lot of concern when buying one of these older Mercedes-Benz with the ABC suspension that's going to cause a lot of problems and it's going to be very expensive, and it really detracts from the idea of owning one of these older Mercedes. So what I thought we'd do is we'll take a drive out to a beautiful spot on the coast north of Sydney, and then I'll give you a rundown of the costs that were involved in servicing and putting the ABC suspension back into tip-top condition. So let's go. So it's a beautiful day in Sydney again, 20 degrees, not bad for a few days before the official start of winter. And we're heading up to one of the northern beaches resorts, Mona Vale, which has a lovely sandy beach. There's a whole string of sandy beaches up north of Sydney. And I thought we'd take the CL500 out for a quick drive up there, and then I'll take you through the costs that were associated with the ABC suspension restoration work and putting that into proper order. And yeah, hopefully that will be useful for you. So it's quite hilly around Sydney, and so one of the valleys here is spanned by a beautiful sandstone bridge, which I believe originally used to carry trams in the days when Sydney had trams. We're soon going to have trams again, but that's a whole other story. So this is the bridge. We're just coming round onto it now. It's rather picturesque because it has these kind of castellated turrets which look like a medieval castle, something out of Game of Thrones. And actually in the distance you can see there's quite a lot of smoke in the air. Now I'm pretty certain that isn't a bushfire, because this time of year we wouldn't be in bushfire season, but it's probably a hazard reduction burn, which they do quite a lot, which is to make sure that fire breaks are in place. Bushfires are a big problem here, so obviously has to be managed very carefully, but you can see the brown smoke in the air up there. And actually the whole sunlight has got this kind of yellowish tinge to it. I'll put a link, actually I'll put a screenshot of the fire's website, and we can see where they are. So you get a good view of the smoke here. It's quite heavy, as you can see, the brownish tinge. Don't know whether it's coming out on the camera at all, but let me just move that up a bit. This is another lovely bridge that we're coming up to now, which actually goes over part of Sydney Harbour, one of the branches of Sydney Harbour. It's quite a spectacular bridge. I'll put some stills up because I've actually walked down alongside the water under here, and so I'll put some stills up. Again, a very spectacular bridge, spectacular gorge. And if you go that way, you end up in Sydney Harbour. So here we are at Warriewood Beach. Beautiful day, beautiful surf. A lot of people have been asking how much it costs to put the ABC suspension back into good condition. So I thought I'd take you through the costs and let you know that it is expensive, but there are some things you can do in terms of preventative maintenance to make sure these things don't happen. So the first job that I did previously was a fluid replacement and new filter. To carry out the labour to carry out that flush was $264. The new power steering fluid, which goes into the ABC suspension, is 10 litres of that, which is $374. And then there's an ABC filter, which is $132. Now I should point out all of this is Australian dollars, so I'll do a conversion for US dollars as it stands right now. So as you know from the previous video, which I will link above, that didn't fix the problem. So the next step was to carry out an ABC valve block recondition. As I think I've explained before, there are two valve blocks. There's one at the front, one at the rear. They have a bunch of O-rings in which tend to perish over time. So they have to be stripped out, O-rings replaced. And normally when you do that, you would replace the fluid and filter. But seeing as I had that done only a few weeks previously, that was discounted from the ABC valve block recondition. So normally the recondition for front and rear is $1,700 Australian, but because I was able to get a credit for the work that had been done previously, there was a discount of $224 for the fluid and $132 for the ABC filter. So that brought that down to just over $1,200. So total I've spent about just over $2,000 putting this ABC back into good condition. I don't think that's too bad. Obviously, it is expensive to keep these suspensions going, but now we know we have good seals in the valve blocks, we have a brand new filter, and we've got fresh fluid throughout. I'm hoping, touch wood, that we'll get several years of trouble-free driving out of this car. Now I'll link again to that very useful article that I linked to in my previous video, which was ABC troubleshooting, symptoms and various preventative measures that you can do. One of the key ones to remember is never to let the fluid get low. As soon as the fluid gets low, the pump will essentially disintegrate. That is a very expensive part. I understand it's $2,500 or $3,000. And not only does it destroy the pump, but it puts shards of metal throughout the system, which can wreak havoc with all the other parts. So always make sure that the fluid is well topped up. Carry out a fluid replacement every couple of years. I'm not sure what the service interval is for that. It's probably 2 or 3 years. Replace the fluid, replace the filter. If you ever get a warning message on the dashboard, don't ever drive when it says you shouldn't, because as I say, if the fluid levels are too low, you will end up trashing the pump. So look, I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found it useful. I want to dispel some of the myths of the ABC suspension. It is a really good system. If it's properly maintained, it should give you years of trouble-free motoring. It's a fantastic suspension system, gives a great ride, much better than traditional springs and dampers. So if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give the like a click, don't forget to subscribe, and you can follow me on Instagram at Maserati Guy 2017, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.